How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. Today is a special episode. Get to have on Indie Lee for her round two interview. We talk about everything from her dog to Appalachian music to apple orchards to her new TT bike with Ventum, racing T100 Singapore coming up soon. So many things, and it is a really great episode. So thank you so much for joining in, and I hope you enjoy this conversation with India Lee. Well, first thing off, I guess, thank you so much for taking the time to come back on a second round two face-to-face interview. Really appreciate it.
Of course. I really enjoyed our chat last time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to another round.
Yeah. How are you doing right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I just got back from a ride, so I'm a little bit chilly because
Cold out.
as is the good old British weather. It's we had like a false sense of optimism with like 3 really nice warm days, and then it's just gone back to being cold again. So
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it was 60, 70 degrees the other day. Got to enjoy a lot of the sun, and then literally last night it was like sleeting and hailing and a bunch of cold and just terrible weather. So
it's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're back home right now?
Yeah, I'm back home. I mean, I can't complain too much because I spent a total of like 5 weeks of the year away already in the sunshine. So yeah, I've just got to suck it up now.
Yeah. Where were you at?
I was in Lanzarote. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That place is like seems to be the bee's knees of where people go to get some training in the off season.
Yeah, it's because it's only a 4-hour flight, but it's significantly warmer because it's like just off the coast of Africa, really. So it's far enough away where it's warm enough that you can just wear like shorts and a jersey rather than having to layer up. Which if you went anywhere else in Europe this time of year, you'd still have to layer up. So yeah, a lot of people head there because it's it's the closest place that's warm.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I want to ask some like specific questions about that place because my buddy of mine, he's like a mentor friend, he's a bit older. He's been working on building this like super high-end, I don't know if you can call it resort, but sort of like training center out in the middle of Arizona, like very remote portion of Arizona. And when I was talking to him about it and he's showing me videos and whatnot, and we were kind of strategizing, like, how do you make this kind of a place popular going forward with different types of people groups? I thought about the place in Lanzarote, which is it Club La Santa? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's 2 places that people go. There's Club La Santa, and then on the other side of the island, well, when I say like other side of the island, it's like 20 miles, so it's quite small. It's all like pretty close to each other. But there's the other side of the island that's a little bit more populated, and that's Costa Teguise.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Club La Santa is like the main one, and I think that's the place that got people going to Lanzarote, I'd say.
Yeah. Is that where you went? Was La Santa, or did you go to the other place?
No, I went to the other one, yeah.
Okay. Have you done both?
I've done both. Yeah, Club La Santa is quite like, it's pretty isolated. It's just out on its own on one end of the island, and I'd say it's really, really good for like families, and if you want to do other things like yoga classes and other kind of other sports. But it's pretty remote. There's not much to do there other than like being in Club La Santa. But where I go over on Costa Teguise, you've got like a 50-meter pool. You've got all the facilities you need, but it's there's a little bit more going on. Like you can go out for dinner if you want to, and like walk into town, stuff like that.
Which one's more expensive?
Club La Santa is more expensive, I think. Yeah.
It's like pretty. It seems pretty bougie. Like, is it just a bunch of elite athletes and then their families typically?
No, I'd say it's mainly families with a few elite athletes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I wonder how it started to get big though, because at least in my view, like when I've seen it across the triathlon landscape, it like gives off this vibe of like, oh, this is where the cool people go in the off season to like. Yeah.
It's like I think it's owned by some Danish people. So loads of the Danes go there.
Okay.
And they're pretty cool, aren't they? So that's probably where you get that vibe from.
Yeah. Well, my wife's Danish, so I'd have to
there you
agree.
go. There you go.
So
that's why you gravitate towards it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And funny enough, one of my best friends is also Danish. So yeah, I've gotten to know the Danes a little bit more over the time, I would say. They're very, very proud people, good people. So
and
you,
tall. They're all tall.
yeah, yeah, which I lucked out actually because I'm very short, like 5'5", and my wife is 5'3", I think. But all of her brothers and everyone's like 6 foot or taller. So yeah, I lucked out. Worked out for me. Hopefully our kids will have a shot at being a little taller.
Yeah, they'll all be 6 foot.
Yeah. So getting into just how you've been a little bit, I'm curious so since your first like T100 win, however long ago that was now, I want to say that was, 8-9 months ago now.
It was a year ago.
Was it a full year ago?
Yeah. Like last weekend, I think it was a year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because like last time I met you, it was like 6 months. And then before that, it was like 25 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So since that, you have grown in popularity quite a bit. You are focusing more on content. Would you consider yourself like a business now, like you as a person?
I think opportunities have come up, which mean I have to think of myself more of a business and have that approach to my life, I guess, to like make the most of the position that I'm in now. There's certain things that I've had to be more businessy around triathlon. Yeah.
How do you like it?
I enjoy it because it's something else to think about beyond triathlon. But sometimes it's frustrating that those things are things that I have to consider because really all I want to do is go and like ride my bike or go for a run, you know.
Yeah.
But I also am super like realistic and remind myself a lot that for a long time I've wanted to be in the position that I'm in now, where I'm like getting the results and I'm competing in like the highest level of races, and that's like the commercial side and social media and stuff like that comes hand in hand with that. So you've just got to like, I knew what I was getting into, so you've just got to embrace it.
Yeah. And so embracing is definitely one step. Being able to make and have the wisdom or discernment to know what decisions to make and how to make them is a different story. So where are you seeking wisdom or guidance in these different areas?
I've got a bunch of good people around me. I've got a manager, Ian, and my coach, Sam, and we're kind of like a little team, like the three of us, who, they're my first port of call with any decisions. And we basically just discuss stuff and figure out what the best thing for me is, which is, it's really cool.
What makes a good manager?
He knows me really well, and he's able to tell me how it is.
Just kind of blunt.
Yeah, like for example with like social media stuff, I'm not always that forthcoming with it because I'm like, I maybe like struggle with the confidence to like put stuff out there, but he's like, no, like you've got to do it. You've got contracts now that need to be fulfilled, and part of that is social media. So just get on with it.
Yeah. I honestly think that a portion of what draws people into like the social media content that you do put out is because you have this more of reserved, almost unsure attitude a little bit about some things, like holding up the mic and, sitting in a chair or on the track or whatever it is. And so it creates this very unique, almost like a humorous, but very authentic experience. So don't lose that. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think some people think I like put it on, but that's genuinely me. Kind of being like I want to do this like video, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna go about it. So like let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the coaching side, like what makes a good coach then?
I guess the same thing as the manager. Sam, I know Sam really well. Like we're really close. So we can have like frank, honest conversations about where we're at, but then also I know that he's super invested in what I'm doing, and that gives me extra motivation, knowing that I'm not just out there doing it for myself. I've got like somebody else in my corner who it also really matters to.
Yeah.
And I guess he can just he can like read like where I'm at based on like how I'm interacting with him, which is good. Like, for example, yesterday we were on the track, and I was struggling a bit with the session just because I'd had like a pretty heavy week, and I didn't feel very like smooth or anything, and I'm like, I'm overthinking it, whatever, blah blah blah. And he can just say like, get out your own head basically, and let's just do the next rep. So just communication, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's amazing to me, the power of, especially from a coach, but when you have somebody there on the sideline who's able to speak some kind of a truth into your life. Like, I've had experience before where I was getting dropped off the back of some very good runners, and there was a guy across the track he wasn't a coach, he was just a friend, but he's like, latch on, and like that little bit of encouragement is what gave it that little extra bump to be able to stick on and get them to the mental space, because the body can usually outperform what the mind thinks it can, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like he messaged me today just saying like, I think yesterday shows, like the track session yesterday just shows like how important it is to be like in a good mental space when you're like going into stuff. So that's something that he prioritizes, and it's nice having a coach that knows that rather than just thinking you're a machine and just setting a program and expecting it to go 100% smoothly every time.
Yeah. Do you have any type of, I don't know, mental protocol is a way to say it, but to kind of recenter yourself, to bring it back to the reality of truth of like, no, I can do this, or, whatever challenge that you're trying to surmount?
I guess I do, but I think I've practiced it for so long that it just becomes like second nature now, almost, that I don't have to actively think about it, other than when it's in a situation like yesterday where I was really struggling to get past like negative self-talk, I guess. I think I can catch myself if I'm in a spiral of just telling myself that I'm rubbish and like, oh, you're no good, this is never going to work, blah blah blah. I can kind of catch myself and adjust the self-talk. I think it's just from years of practice.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's not an easy thing to do. I don't know if I told you this before, but if I did, stop me so I don't bore you and the listeners. But I went to this retreat about a year ago, and they had this exercise basically where I wrote down all of my negative self-talk points. Did I tell you this story?
No.
Okay. So I wrote them all down, and I said them out loud, and basically they had us like walk around in a circle and just kind of repeat these things for ourselves. And then the music and everyone was told to stop. And then you like open up this envelope, and it was like a picture of you as a kid. And then they're like, okay, can you say those things to your kid? I literally broke down into tears. I was pouring, because I just realized like, wow, I would never say that to a child of that age, but so easily and so often we tell ourselves a lot of these things that really aren't even based in truth. They're just based in fear and whatever else. But that was a powerful lesson.
Yeah, we can be so unkind to ourselves when you get into a groove of it, saying, oh, I don't know, like, oh, this session's too hard for you, or you're never going to be able to do this, or and then once you start saying one negative thing, you kind of like can like build on it, and then before you know it, you've spent 2 hours just going round and round telling yourself that you're no good. So and that's exhausting when you get to the end of that. So I'm not surprised you had that reaction when you look at your little self. And
oh yeah, I cried like a baby. And I from that too, I also learned like the power and just the gift of being able to accept an affirmation, because I think it's almost seen as like an unspoken truth that, whenever somebody compliments you, you need to like kind of push it away or be like, oh no, I'm not that way. But because there's a balance. You don't want to be overly prideful, the pride versus the humble thing. But to be able to just say like, oh, thank you. I think it helps twofold. First, it shows that person that's giving you that affirmation, like it helps them feel like, oh yeah, like it was good that I did that. And then it really is like, I think the most selfless way to be, I don't know, just healthy, to accept those things, to believe those pieces of truth that come into our lives. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if somebody's giving you a compliment and you're going, oh, no, I'm not. It's kind of like saying to them, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You read me completely wrong. When really you're just trying to be like, you're trying to be humble or whatever, but it's just gone to the extreme. Where if you just go, oh, thank you, then it's a nice moment and you get a little boost because someone's giving you a compliment rather than going, oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't deflect it because then you can take it and you pass it on to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the time, if somebody gives you a compliment and you absorb it, then the next time you see somebody doing something nice or whatever, you can pass it on, and then it's just a whole chain.
A
chain of niceness.
Yeah. Well, if we were to stop the conversation even right there, I feel like we've got enough content that somebody can change their whole life around. So going back to the business stuff for a second, because there's contracts that you sign, like you're in 2025 now, and I'm assuming most of them are all figured out for the next year, a couple of years.
Yeah.
When you're signing these contracts, are there any of them that come to mind where you are a bit intimidated with what you have to deliver?
200.
Yeah.
I have to race a lot.
Yeah.
Not really, I don't think. Yeah. I mean, most of them are just, I guess if I've signed a contract with a brand, it's because they like what I'm doing already, and I've like proven that I can perform and like race well and stuff. So that gives me a certain level of like reassurance because they know what they're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, having had such a successful year last year and knowing that some of the contracts and stuff have come around based on the results I got last year, sometimes I can find myself feeling a little bit intimidated over like, wow, like hopefully that wasn't just one good year. I've got to back that up to show that I'm worthy of these contracts that I've got now. But then I very quickly kind of bring myself back down and remind myself that all I have to do is like carry on doing what I'm doing, and that's not a big deal. But if I looked at the year as a whole, it seems pretty intimidating. But if I just carry on going out and training every day, then it's more likely than not that I'm going to be able to replicate what I did last year, and that would still be another good year.
Yeah. Do you ever struggle with the concept of like trying to control the things that you have no control over?
Yes. In the past, I've struggled with that a lot, and I did a lot of work on letting go of that. And like it used to cause me quite a lot of anxiety because I felt like the job that I do, being a professional athlete, there's so much that is outside of my control. Like when I turn up to a race, everything other than me is out of my control. So I get quite a lot of practice and being able to say no, like just let it go and just focus on myself. And then I worked on it quite a bit, and letting go of stuff that you can't control is it's a great feeling once you get the hang of it. It's really good. You can just let life. Well, you're not letting life pass you by because like I'm very much in it. But you just don't worry unnecessarily. Yeah. And I used to worry a lot unnecessarily. Yeah. And now I don't. So I've got a lot more energy to just live life.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because even from the last time I had a conversation with you, 6-7 months ago, you seem quite a bit lighter in just your energy and outlook on life. So obviously there's a bit of a mindset shift here, but what do you attribute some of those changes to so that somebody who's like looking to get to that place Hey, really quick message. I have to just do a plug for a new company that I have decided to partner with. I've been saying no to partnerships for a while, but Bicycle is the company that I have decided to say yes to, and here's why. Selling a bike on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist can be a complete headache. You have people messaging you constantly, is this available? Then they ghost you. Maybe they're trying to scam you. It is a complete nightmare. But Bicycle is an easier and safer way for you to sell your bike worldwide. You can list it in minutes, and they even give you pricing suggestions that will match how fast you need to sell that bike. Mark Dubrick's used it. Pro Tri News guys are using it. My buddy Ari Clow, all people who've been on the podcast in the past are using it. So if you're interested, go to bicycle.com/stupid questions. Click on that link in the show notes, and you can go there and use code SQ30 to get 30% off seller protection. So again, that's bicycle.com/stupid questions. BUYCYCLE.com/stupid questions and use that code SQ30 to get 30% off seller protection for this amazing platform. So go ahead, go list that bike, maybe even look for a bike and make that dough.
Yeah.
Can also make those moves.
Well, I think I had a massive mindset shift at the end of 2023, so I guess like just over a year ago now, and then that mindset shift was just like not overly caring about stuff I can't control, and like other people's opinions on me, on what I should be doing, and whether or not I'm good at what I'm doing and successful at what I'm doing. And I just thought, no, like I really don't care whether other people perceive me to be successful or not, or if they've got an opinion on how I'm living my life, because I'm just living my life as full as I want to live it and the way that I want to live it, and that gives me that makes me happy. So yeah, basically I just prioritized my own happiness, and then that's translated into just being a bit calmer generally in life. It's not like it wasn't like an overnight thing, and I still have to like be really conscious of like this like self-talk stuff and decisions that I make and what I prioritize and things like that. But and like you're always learning. But yeah, basically I just stay in my own lane and worry about the stuff I really care about, and that's it.
Yeah. Less things to care about. I mean, that can sound kind of bad, but the fewer things that you have to like truly care about and prioritize, the less time you have, I guess, to worry, or there's fewer things that you can stress about, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't stress about the things that you don't need to stress about.
Yeah.
which is
it sounds cliche, but it's totally it is what it is. It
sounds like really easy to say but if you practice it enough, then it becomes easier.
Yeah, it's true. That's the same with anything. So like even outside of sport, because like it sounds like Ian and Sam, if I remember their names correctly, like they're a big part of your inner circle for influence and making decisions. But even outside of sport, like who would you say are maybe the big role models, or a big role model that you like really look up to, or a mentor that you have?
Well, I'm really close with my family, and that's really important to me. I spend a lot of time with my mum and dad, and they're just I really value that time that I get to spend with them. And then other than that, I've just got a really small but close group of friends who I know have my back and care about me, and I care about them, and like would drop anything to help them. Like Sam and his wife Hannah and their little boy Dougie, they're a big part of my life.
No, that's fair. Parents are huge. I mean, my wife, I used to really get upset at her actually, because so we've been married 8 years now, and it's not an insecurity of mine anymore, but so her father is like one of the hugest mentors in her life because he's an older guy. Obviously, it's her dad, so there's that special bonding connection. But he is the most patient man I've ever met and a man of few words.
Yeah.
And I am a man of many words and struggle with patience. So, like, there was this, whenever she couldn't get through something, I would, try to word salad it to a solution. And she would be like, oh, I'm going to go call my dad. So, for the longest time, I'd like really it was like jealousy, really, to a large extent. But we've gone through the years of just getting to know each other better. I think I've become more patient and a little less opinionated and trying to solve all the issues, right then and there with a logic-based system. But the reason I share that is like now, I can really appreciate that because I haven't had that kind of relationship with either one of my parents growing up. But the fact that she has that, because she'll go to her dad with a very intense issue that she'll like, honestly probably want a solution for. And he just gives her like really kind of just a listening ear and a few sentences to kind of steer the focus back on herself to hopefully have her have more of an introspective just view or conversation about whatever the issue is. And so like having those, the parents I think can't go without saying as being like some of the most important mentors. And I wish everybody had that, because that family unit I feel like is what the fabric of society really should be based on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel super fortunate that I've got the relationship with my parents that I do have. And I don't take it for granted. And like, obviously, it sounds really sad, but like, that they're not going to be around forever. And so
that is sad.
Like, as we're older, or as I get older, I think that I'm able to see that I value the more time I get to spend with them now. I'm going to really value that, like, when they're like maybe not around, which is really sad to think about. But I think when you're younger, when you're in your teenage years, you're like, I don't need mum and dad.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Stuff like that.
I got it figured out. I know
you're
everything.
Like too cool for it. And But now that I'm older, I can see that it's really nice to be able to spend time with them as an older person, and like you have different conversations with them now. So it's nice.
Yeah, I wish all parents. And I say this kind of telling myself because I'll eventually have kids, but I wish that they could all have that perspective, because I know that those years between, when the child can talk, then they get up to like age 5 or 6 and they start become less attached, become their own individual. And then really it doesn't happen until like the 20s or even late 20s, sometimes later, when the kid comes back around, like you're saying, and we have the perspective like, oh, our parents were trying and I really do value them for all of these reasons. Yeah, I think that there's definitely a balance. Like nobody should like obsess over death and be like constantly in the fear of losing someone. But
no, don't do that.
Yeah, but definitely being able to consider a life and what life would be like in the absence of them is like a very sobering, but I think a healthy thought, because really racing at the end of the day doesn't matter as much as your parents and
exactly.
whatever's to happen after. So priorities seem to be pretty aligned. So what would need to happen in 2025 for you to feel like that this was a good year?
I think if I get to the end of the year and I'm still enjoying racing triathlon, it's going to be a pretty intense year. So there's a lot of T100 races.
How many exactly?
I think there's 8 races, of which you have to do 5.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also might throw in a couple of Ironmans, which adds another dimension. So there's potentially a lot of racing, which so if I get to the end of the year still enjoying triathlon and still wanting to be in it, I think that's one goal. Making sure that I don't get too intense with the like chasing results or anything like that, because I think last year was a success because I was just like purely about the process, and I was enjoying the situation I was in. So if I can continue enjoying the situation I'm in, then by the end of the year, then I think I'll be happy with where I'm at.
Do you think it will be easier or harder to keep that mindset if you were to come in, let's just say first or like ninth
I
at this first
think
T100 race in Singapore?
at the first race, the first race is going to be interesting because it's in Singapore and it's so hot, and that adds an extra dimension to the racing. Like honestly, like the position of the finishing position, I'm not so bothered about. The thing that I care most about when I'm racing is that I've given like a good account of myself, and I've raced well and shown what I'm capable of, and I've gotten the most out of my body. And the races where I haven't done that, I could still have like a good finish position, but I'll be frustrated with how I did it. So so I could come in ninth, but I think that I've put together a really good performance. I could come in 19th and think I've put together a really good performance, and I'll be happy. But if I came in fourth, but died on the run again, then I'd be disappointed.
Sure. Singapore, you say died again on the run. Like, did you last time at Singapore you had a hard time with the run?
Just like a few races last year when it was really hot, I struggled with the heat, and so that's something that I've worked on this winter, and I've like got a strategy to try and be better in the heat. And so I guess that going into Singapore, that's my focus, is to try and prove to myself that that's worked.
Yeah. Is it like a specific heat protocol you've been doing? Are you allowed
just
to
like
share?
heat prep, and the way that we do the heat prep, and then cooling strategies for like in the race, and making sure that I'm not just winging it, which I was perhaps guilty of for a couple of races last year.
Yeah. It's easier to wing it at times in terms of preparation.
It's a lot less stressful if you wing
it. Yeah.
Because it could go well.
It could, yeah. Have you had any wing it situations in your life where it has gone really well?
I feel like a lot of my triathlon racing has been winging it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the mindset that I go in with, like telling myself, oh, like it'll be okay, you'll get through it. Yeah. Like, don't overthink it. When really I have that attitude on the start line because I'm actually like super, super prepared. But because I'm like super well prepared and have done everything I need to do, I'm on the start line and I think, oh, I don't know, but I'll be all right here.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one to watch. It's the first weekend of April, right? First week?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 5th, and women are on the 5th and men are on the 6th of April.
Okay, nice. And then are they doing age group race as well on the 7th?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not sure which day, but yeah.
I think it's the 7th. Interesting. Well, it'll be fun to track that, whatever time it'll be. I hope I can watch it live. It's kind of a crazy time change for Singapore, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure what the time difference is for you guys.
It's going to be crazy, I think. Probably like 12 hours or something like that.
Yeah. So it'll probably be like super early morning for you.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. So 6 months ago when I had you on, I asked you the question, are you spiritual? And you thought about it, you had an answer, and then afterwards, when we were talking just on Instagram a little bit, like you said that question made you think quite a bit. Could you unpack a little bit of what you were thinking?
Okay. You asked me if I was spiritual, and I thought, I think I said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, like, am I, or do I just do stuff that may be perceived to be spiritual, or am I not at all? And then I was thinking about it, and then I guess there's different ways of being spiritual, and I think maybe the word gets in the way of me thinking that I am, because I think it sounds a bit fluffy and and a bit like a bit hippie-ish, which I'm not. But then, like when I'm out riding my bike, and I prioritize putting myself in an environment where it's a nice place to go and ride my bike, because I like looking at a nice view. and I like looking at nice trees and stuff like that. And then when I look at that, that gives me life. And so I guess part of that is being spiritual, because you're like taking away from your environment. Like, yeah, I'm not really sure how to articulate it. I just, I guess I should find the message that I sent you, because I thought that expressed it quite well. But yeah, I've gone away and not really thought about it all too much since then. Just, I guess, because I found an answer and I was happy with the answer, and I just kind of settled into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like it. I should have actually come up with the response and like had it here. Oh yeah, here, yeah, I'll read it really quick if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So I said, like, I'm curious what kind of things stuck with you that you thought of more. And you said, you asked if I were spiritual, and I said yes, but I hadn't really thought about it before. I just do life how I do it, you know? So I did some reading and listening to some other podcasts to consider it, and I decided that I am, but I'm not in an obvious way that I need to show externally or to share with the people around me. So like, yeah, I think for me, like what you were describing there is like almost like spiritual, but with like a hint of religion, because there's this proselytizing kind of like desire I think that people have whenever they feel like they've found something and it brings value to them, that they want to share it.
Yeah.
But yeah, spirituality I think has such a broad meaning. Like you said, it seems a little fluffy or hippie, but honestly, I think the hippies kind of maybe ruined the word a little bit, because like their love for the trees and nature and whatnot, like that was there long before their movement and the free love movement. And there was some wild stuff that was intertwined with their experiences and why they felt the way that they did. But yeah, like I think everyone is spiritual, because if we all have like these moments of intense sadness or intense happiness or whatever, and it really does transcend like the physical things that you can bring in through sight, smell, taste, hearing. And I think that, I mean, I believe that we were created. So like that, I have that worldview that sits around all of that, but nobody can go sit in Zion National Park or like at the base of El Capitan or the base of or on the top of Everest or wherever where there's any level of beauty, because it reminds me, at least, or being under the stars at night, like it reminds me of how small I am, but how intricate.
The stars get me every night. Like, I'm really lucky where I live that I can walk out my front door and there's no like street lights or anything, so the sky is like dark, like super black. Super dark, and I can look up and I see all these stars, and it just like it blows my mind that they're all out there and we're here. And then I get into a mad thought spiral of like, well, why are we here? What's the point of us being here? And then I have to stop myself, otherwise I won't fall asleep at night. But,
you won't fall asleep because it like plagues your mind, like it makes you unsettled, or what do you mean?
I'm just exaggerating, but like if you do start to think about it, you think like why are we here, and why am I here doing what I'm doing, and why, how and why, and what's it for, and everything like that. And then you just think, well, the thing that it is for is just got to be what you make it. So just it's another reason to just stay in your lane and make sure that you're looking after yourself and the people in your like immediate vicinity. And then if you do that, then they'll do that, and then it just it just multiplies across like bigger society. But it's the stars get me.
If you were able to just like press a button and have some of these like existential big life questions answered without a shadow of a doubt, like you press a button and now you have that understanding. Obviously this is kind of a hard question to answer because you don't know exactly what that answer would be, but how do you suspect that if you had the answer to those questions, it would change you?
Oh, well, it would I like for most of my life, I really like knowing the answer to stuff and having an answer for something and having evidence to prove why something is how it is. But then for the bigger question and concept of life of like, why are we all here, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
is just like, I wouldn't want the answer, because then there's no, well, I could find out that I'm doing the wrong thing, and then maybe that would affect your happiness. But yeah, that's very tricky. Very tricky question.
Yeah.
What would you do?
How would my life change? I would hope that actually my life wouldn't change. If you said, like you said, if I found out, let's just pretend, let's go on the topic of religion for a second, because that's something like I feel pretty passionate about. If I was to find out that like most of what I believed was wrong, I think that would be pretty hard. But in the end, I think that I would be grateful for it, because if I was able to have the knowledge that I was wrong, then I have a choice. I can either choose to stay in my, like, what I've been doing, or I can adopt that and figure out, well, okay, well, with this new knowledge, like, what does happiness look like? What does my life look like in the context of whatever this truth is? And how can I share that with other people? Not necessarily by trying to convert them to whatever it is that I believe, but by just like, really, I think that it's kind of changing the topic a little bit, but I really believe that some things are universally known and understood. For example, like being kind to others. No one's going to tell you that that's a bad thing.
No,
so,
exactly.
So whatever I learn, I don't think it would change those fundamentals, but maybe some of the other questions around it may change a little bit. And I would hope that I would change my life in a way that would align with whatever that truth is. Yeah. And it's so difficult too, because like from a religious standpoint, I grew up with these very specific set of beliefs, and like, here's the Bible, and here's what we do, and yada yada yada. But then I have been to places like Papua Indonesia, where we flew a bush plane up into the middle of nowhere. These people have, like, some of the kids had never seen an iPad before, and we brought it up there for the first time, and they're experiencing this, and they've never heard of our religion and who is Jesus and that stuff. But because they live in nature, I think they experience these aspects of like love and creation and beauty, like you said, the stars. So like, there's people out there, I think, that will never have had the same exposure to the same type of like religion or spiritual practices that I have. But I think that the common threads that go through are like what's truly mostly important. I don't know. That's kind of a...
No, I'd agree. I'd agree with that. Because even if people... So I wouldn't consider myself like religious or believing in, like, let's say, like a single God.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I live my life is probably like super aligned with Christian values, and the fact that like I want to be kind to others. But I'm not doing that because it's like the right way to like go about life and to treat other people around you, etc. But not because I think that that's gonna
give you something.
I'm not sure. It's but then maybe that's because of like the society that I grew up in is like based around Christian values, but then other people of other religions also follow those basic values as well, because that's just what being a good human is.
Yeah. No, I think so. It's interesting because like I have thought a lot about, well, am I just a representation of all of the experiences that I've had in my past? And like that's I think when you have a kid or you're raising them, they're watching you, modeling you, and it's like everything that they know, from the words that they use to the experiences that they feel to the colors they see, like it's all presented before them, and then really everything that they say is just some form of a manipulation of what they have already taken in. But I think that we all reach an age when then we like have to, it's like an age of reasoning when it no longer becomes just I don't know, like an AI system, like, these large language models, all they are is just a regurgitation of everything that we've put into them.
Exactly.
But what they don't have is like that, I guess you could call it consciousness, but the ability to like have the age of reason and then say, well, do I agree with that? And then I can go and kind of search that avenue and see like, well, do I really believe that? Well, yeah, I do. Or yeah, I don't. And here's why.
Yeah. And then everyone's surrounded by a different like set of people in different degrees, and so that's going to affect your worldview. And it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is interesting. I love these types of conversations, and it made me think like I really dislike and disapprove of the practice of any form of spirituality or religion as like a transactional thing, like you were saying, because it's like, oh, well, if I do all these things, then I'll go to heaven. But it's like, well, then why are you doing those actions? Because if you're doing, if
so
that's
then you're
the
just
reason,
doing those actions for yourself.
You're just doing this for yourself, and it's like this works-based transactional system. It's like, well, if I want that kind of a thing, I can go to a restaurant, and that's maybe that'll give me the same level of fulfillment there. Like I speak nicely to my waiter, and then they bring me my food. It's like it's a very dumbed down version, but I think the best form of like any type of religious practice is really an altruistic one, but I think that it's really hard to do that at the same time. To be completely selfless is like a very difficult.
It's really tricky,
because it's like you can't force it. It has to be something that is like grown within you, I think, through actions of others, like picking up small pieces of trash on the street or whatever. Those small things.
Agree.
Yeah.
A lifetime of small things.
Yeah, that's what makes a difference. It's what makes a difference in triathlon.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how's Ziggy doing?
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's so good. Yeah. She so I got her this tracker recently, right? And you know all athletes wear like an Oura ring or a Whoop or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I got this tracker, and the app for it is like a dog Oura ring. It's absolutely hilarious. Like it tells you how much she sleeps, what her activity level is, everything. Like it's so
heart rate.
It doesn't do a heart rate. But it's so ridiculous. It's hilarious.
I think I've seen an ad for this. What is it called?
Yeah, it's called Tracker.
Okay.
Just
Tractive
GPS.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's an anti-anxiety thing for me for when I take her running, that in my mind she's just going to run off and I'm never going to see her again, and I'm going to spend 5 days in the woods looking for her. So I've got that to try and placate my negative thoughts about her running off.
How old is she now?
She's 3. She'll be 3 start of April.
Mm-hmm. I have a question.
She looks like a puppy.
Yeah, she does. I've seen quite a few pictures of her on your Instagram. She's adorable. Yeah. What kind of dog is she again? I forgot.
She's a cockapoo.
Cockapoo, yeah.
Yeah.
My dog has been living with my in-laws in Tennessee since we got here because we just don't have a very big yard, and it's so sad. Okay. But he's so much happier at the farm with the other 2 dogs, like a Whippet and a German Shepherd, and they all get along really well. But yeah. Miss my doggy.
What kind of dog is he?
He's an Australian Shepherd.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he loves running, and it's so funny. Like I used to run him probably too much, but it was amazing. He would go on to like 15, 16-mile runs with me.
Yeah, they just don't stop, do they?
Yeah, he doesn't stop. He's getting a little older and lazier now, starting to show little gray hairs. He's like almost 7 years old, so he's getting a little older. But yeah. I have a question for you on the relationship with animals. So something I noticed with myself is, and I have had anger issues in the past, so this is probably just me. You may not experience this. But my emotions, like toward my dog, would usually reflect like what was going on internally. So I'd go on runs with him, and I would have to train him very specifically because I would run on the roads, even though they're country roads. Like, hey, you have to heel, and I'd get mad at him because he'd like get excited and go forward, and he would heel, and then even if I would say like good boy, he would start to run more ahead of me because he was so excited. Just so interesting. But I would notice that like how I treated him in a specific day was like really what was going on internally for me. And then one day I realized like, oh my goodness, like there's a couple lessons to learn here. My dog is the most forgiving and loving animal ever because I can yell at him and smack him or whatever, and like he's always coming right back to me and like dependent. And even when I've been upset or sad, like he'll come up to me and like show signs of concern. And then I realized one day I was like, man, I need to change how I treat him because like that's going to be a reflection of how I treat others and obviously how I'm treating myself internally. But have you ever had moments of reflection in your interactions with Ziggy that have shown maybe what's going on more internally with you?
That's interesting. If I'm tired and it's like at the end of the day and she's not listening to me, then I will get a little bit frustrated and kind of like yell at her in a certain tone that makes her do whatever I'm asking her to do. Like she'll do it immediately, rather than think, "Oh, I can get
little
I can
stern
get away
mother
with this."
tone, yeah.
But most of the time, I'm guilty of being like a complete soft touch, and she gets away with whatever she wants.
Yeah,
and I'll just say, I do well when she was a puppy. I did put a lot of effort into like training her properly, like you said with your dog. I was really conscious that for her to be able to do what I was hoping she'd be able to do, like come on runs with me, basically just like travel with me whenever I'm traveling around like the UK, or like come to my bike fit with me, like stuff like that. She needed to be like really well behaved. So I did put a lot of effort into making sure she's well behaved. So she is well trained. So most of the time when I ask her to do something, she will do it straight away. And she's got a similar personality to me, where she just wants to do stuff properly. She doesn't want to be in trouble. So that means that she's quite easy. But yeah, if I am tired and a bit tetchy and a bit like and I'm a bit short tempered or whatever, then I will kind of snap at her. And then if I snap at her, then I feel really bad.
You feel a little bad.
Yeah, kind of like it makes you like check yourself, doesn't it? Because you think, oh, like that's not fair. Like it's not her fault that I'm tired. So then you kind of just adjust your manner.
Yeah,
which is good because it kind of like speaking to a dog like that isn't okay. But then if I catch myself like speaking to Ziggy like that, I think, oh, I hope I haven't spoken to like any people like that today, because that would be like really bad. So yeah, I guess it stops me doing that. It stops me being rude to people.
Yeah. I think that everyone should own a dog, but there's interesting because it teaches you a lot.
It does.
But it's like, have you ever gardened? Have you ever been into gardening? Yeah, if everyone could have their own garden and have their own dog, like I feel like those two things in themselves would give so many life lessons. Just
the garden for patience.
Do what?
But the garden, is that for patience?
Oh yeah. For patience, the garden has taught me so many things. Just like the small analogy of like, planting seeds. You plant a seed here, you don't know exactly when it's going to sprout, and every plant has a different level of depth that the seed needs to be planted in the ground, and a different level of water and a different time of season. And like cabbage plants and broccoli, they'll perform better in like harsher, colder environments in the winter, like more hardy vegetables. But then like other stuff like corn or green beans, like they need, more of the, it's just it's so interesting because there's so many lessons in life just for how things go. Because sometimes, I'll try to, I don't know, influence a certain person, or let's just say if I had kids, I want to influence them in a certain season of their life. I plant a seed. Well, for those two kids could be two different types of crops, where like one, when they're 7 years old, like that seed starts to grow, or when they're 17, it starts to grow. And it's just, it can be really easily to be, I think, discouraged when it comes to like learning different life lessons, and you think, oh, this should come quicker, or even training, like, oh, this should come quicker. But everyone's so different. And if you have that experience of working with living things that are animals or plants, like it sounds a little frou-frou if I'm being honest, but it's so true.
It's a great analogy for like different types of people, and you just got to let people do what they need to do, and then they'll flourish. But if you force it, then you could stifle them.
Yeah. 100%. Can't harvest the fruit. So, switching subjects just a little bit, I'm curious, what kind of music are you gravitating toward these days?
Okay.
And then we're gonna make an India Lee playlist after
You're not
going to
want to when you hear this. But I was talking to my dad the other day because we've got a similar taste in music, and quite often he'll message me a song that he'll be like, oh, this is a song I'm listening to most this month, and I'll do the same. But if I find a new song, I'll be like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. But then I saw him the other day and I said, Dad, I've got a new genre of music I've been listening to. And he's like, what's that? And I just said, it's Appalachian folk music. And he just goes,
this is where I live. Or live.
Yeah. And he goes, no, I don't think that's for me.
He didn't even give it a shot, huh?
Well, then I sent him a few songs, so I think it was coming round to the fact. But yeah, so basically I was watching Yellowstone.
Oh yeah.
And then there was quite a bit of music on there that I liked. So I like folky country kind of that kind of thing. I'm not really into like heavy pop music or dance or anything like that.
Yeah.
If you saw my workout playlist, you'd think it's for anybody else it would be like a chilled afternoon playlist. But
yeah, you're like smashing VO2 efforts to like mandolins and guitars going in the background.
Literally. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I've been listening to recently. Yeah, and also I'm guilty of I've got a playlist that's probably been the same playlist for like 4 years, and then I'll add new stuff to it. So now it's about 6 hours long, but it's the same playlist.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to send you a couple of artists. Have you heard of Arcadian Wild?
Let me have a look, see who I've added to my liked songs recently. Arcadian Wild.
Yeah, Arcadian Wild. They're like an Appalachian. I've been trying to get them on the podcast. I hope that they get on. But I really like their music.
Oh, yeah. I've liked one of their songs.
Okay, so they're sweet. Yeah. An older one is... Have you heard of Nickel Creek? They're an older one, but Nickel Creek's really awesome too. I'll have to send them to you as well if you can't find it. But one of the first like real hard guitar songs I ever learned.
I've also liked one of their songs.
Oh wow.
Destination.
Yeah. Well, you're hitting up all the good stuff then.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
That's my vibe.
So I was going to ask something about music. I can't remember.
Also, so you were talking about social media earlier, and part of my social media, like when I put like some of the songs on, because I listen to like different types of music, the song, loads of people are like, oh, you need to do like a trending song or whatever. But part of my identity is like putting music to the reels or whatever on that I'm actually listening to, because then that video means more to me, and I think it reflects more of my personality rather than just doing whatever's popular, because then I don't associate myself with it. So that's kind of, even though like my music tastes are pretty niche for like a British person, it's I really like what I listen to, so that's why I want to express that in whatever I put out.
This makes me so excited. I want to like it. So first of all, I'm glad that you said that about the reels, because I try to, whenever I release the preview of an upcoming episode, I always try to find a song that like I feel encapsulates just the conversation or the personality of that person. So I know where I'm going to get my material for this next preview. So that's exciting. But because you've shown interest in this piece of what I used to hate folk music and like Appalachian, like the accents and all of that. I always prided myself in not having the accent. But now that I've moved away and gotten older, I find a lot of sentimental value in like, that's where I'm from, like the Tennessee, North Carolina mountains, like, we're hillbillies type of thing. Yeah. So, but I want to like take you to one of my favorite places in Tennessee. It's called, what is it called? Mercer Orchard. So every fall, like the beautiful colors of all the maple trees and the oak trees, right? So you have this setting of just like the crisp air and all this beauty. And they have this multi-100-acre apple farm
Oh,
orchard.
wow.
And so they're
Yeah.
harvesting orchards, but they have this giant warehouse with all kinds of food products, and it's all centered around apples. So they have like this apple crumbles and
Yeah.
apple tasting and apple ciders and apple bread and apple
Yeah.
donuts. And it's just the coolest place. So if you ever come to
That's great.
Tennessee or North Carolina
Yeah.
in the fall, I want to take you because it's like
Okay.
they've got the country folk music going. Sometimes they have a live band going,
Yeah.
and people just go there as like it's just the harvest time of year. And it's if you've
Sounds
never been
right
to,
up the
have you ever been
street.
to an apple orchard like in the fall?
I have. Yeah. Yeah. I have actually. Yeah. I
Okay,
have.
so you've experienced it then. But this is
Yeah.
better, I'm sure.
Yes. I mean, it's not. It's not an Appalachian.
Yeah, exactly.
It was in Iowa. Not
yeah.
quite the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. The mountains, you just got the mountains of the east. They're very pretty, very different than the west.
It looks
but
gorgeous.
Yeah.
I watched this guy on YouTube, and he was like going through the whole of Appalachia and like stopping in all like the really tiny towns, and like talking to all the locals and stuff. And obviously, it's struggled a bit, isn't it? Isn't it like one of the poorest areas in the US? But
yeah,
it
because
is
a lot
so
of
beautiful.
Yeah, it used to be like so my wife's family, they live in this little town called Jellicoe, about an hour north of Knoxville, if you know where that is. But it's in the mountains, right before the Kentucky border, and it used to be a huge coal mining town, where they had like in this small town like 2 theaters back in the day and all this stuff.
Yeah, but that industry's just like died, I guess.
Yeah, it packed up and left. So now it's like Appalachia is like one of the most meth addicted and areas, like lots of low income, hard.
Yeah.
So they need to be reached. They need a lot of help for sure.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I'll have to send you some stuff on Mercer Orchard in case you to like plant that seed.
Yeah.
Well, then just a couple more questions. I just want to ask this question because I've been seeing a lot about it. So I had Barrett Brandon on a while back, who's CFO over at Eventum, and now they've released this, and I got to see the prototype that Jackson was on, and now they're just everybody's on Eventum, it seems like. So how are you liking the new bike?
Oh, it's wicked. It's so good. It's better than I had hoped for. So I mean, it was reasonably risky that I signed with them before I'd even like ridden the bike, seen the bike or anything.
That is risky.
But I was like the conversations that I'd had with Brandon and Barrett, and Travis were like, they were so positive about it. And I spoke with a bunch of other people who had helped develop it, and it was like everyone was so excited about it that I just wanted to be involved.
That's
and
awesome.
Then I got the bike, and like it looks really cool, it looks smart, and then I rode it for the first time out in Lanzarote, and it just goes. It's so fast.
That's awesome.
And it feels good. And then just like being involved with all the Ventum guys is like pretty cool.
Yeah, they're pretty small company still too, so that's always cool for the relational aspect of what you're doing.
Oh yeah, it's they've helped me with like getting all set up on it, and it's really exciting because I haven't had like a proper bike sponsor before. I've never had a new TT bike, so it's the first time I've had a new time trial bike.
Congratulations.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to race on it.
Yeah. You've come to a place now where you're not having to, I guess, go into your own pocketbook as much to have the gear and stuff. Does that feel good?
I'm glad that I've come from a place where I have had to kind of like figure it out for myself, because I don't take anything for granted. But also it's given me like a lot of knowledge, because I had to educate myself on like getting into aero position, what bits of equipment I need, and what works for me, etc. And then now I'm in such a fortunate position where I'm able to kind of like pick and choose who I'm working with, and like the equipment that I put on my bike, and like how it gets set up and stuff like that, which it's really cool because for a long time I was kind of figuring it out myself and spending hours in my garage with like a Dremel and like trying to find bolts and just like kind of bodging together like a front end for my TT and race bike and stuff. So I'm kind of proud that I got the results, like doing it like myself, and then now I'm in a position to be able to kind of do it like properly, for want of a better word. But yeah, it just shows that you don't need all the fancy stuff, but if you can have it, then it's lovely.
Yeah, for sure. To live on both sides of the equation, I think, is an important part of having gratitude. And like you said, not taking things for granted. So
yeah,
congratulations on that. That's huge.
Thank you very much. I'm super proud. It's really cool. Yeah.
Well, Indy, your mindset, I really appreciate it. I find a lot of value in it. I love having these conversations because I feel like we got to touch on everything from Appalachian music to spirituality and religion to fast TT bikes. So these kinds of conversations are why I do this podcast. Is like, it's totally a selfish gain, and I really appreciate you adding value back into my life and sharing from your perspective. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to have conversations like this. Not just talk about training, because there's more to life.
100%. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you. It's great.
Thank you so much to Indie Lee for coming on and opening up about so many things. Again, really appreciate the conversations with her. I feel like it is so easy to jive with her energy. So I really appreciate her taking the time to make this podcast happen. If you made it to this point in the podcast, just want to say thank you so much. If you'd be interested in getting a weekly newsletter that gives a recap of all the highlights of past episodes, then you can sign up at the link in the description below. Also, check out the bicycle link in the show notes as well if you want to sell a bike and make some money pretty quick with a ease of use service. And also you can buy bikes on there as well. If you want to watch this video, or excuse me, if you are watching this video on YouTube, Instagram, wherever, listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you would like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, leave a review, any and all those things continue to help grow this podcast. So just want to say thank you so much for making it happen. Really appreciate you guys. Love doing this. It is an honor for me, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.